The Warriors win their home opener 139-104 in dramatic fashion as they kick the shit out of the Trailblazers. What's up, everybody? I am Andre Fernandez, your host, and welcome to Post Game Live, Warriors Post Game Live. I'm joined by my brother Daniel. What's going on, Daniel?
Let's go, man. Opening night. Woo!
Oh, it was great. It was absolutely great. The Warriors looked so much better this year. I mean, so far at least, they look so good. I loved the team so far that Dunleavy has put together. I think that their passing ability is much better. I think that their cohesion is much better than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
They looked all around better.
Yeah, and they brought in some great veterans to, calm things down on the team and move the ball. I loved Buddy Hield tonight, man.
Buddy Hield was great.
Dude, I knew when they signed him, I was like, man, that dude can shoot. And boy, did he shoot tonight. He really sparked that second quarter for the Warriors. So all around, man, impressive what Dunleavy has done with this team and how Kerr has kind of learned how to coach these guys. Every year he's kind of having a new team to a certain degree, new players. And the team looks really good.
They look really good, and I just love the cohesion. They just seem to be able to work with each other. They knew where they were supposed to be at. They knew their roles. They knew their places, and they were able to move the ball around freely. And that's what I love so much about what I saw tonight. Not to mention the defensive prowess that they showed as well. I thought defensively they were really good. Trace Jackson-Davis was a factor down low. I thought Draymond Green was just literally all over the place. And he even got a technical foul, which I wish he wouldn't have got, but he had to, right?
Oh, wow.
It's almost like he was shooting for it. Yeah, he was like, oh, I got to get one of those opening night. But overall, though, I mean, what was your take on the Warriors defensively in this game?
Yeah, defensively, they started out really well. I mean, obviously, the Blazers came out shooting. They're at home, had the crowd with them. But the Warriors stuck to their guns and played really good defense. They got their hands in the passing lanes, a lot of ball deflections, and they were active on the rebounding, on the defensive rebounding and offensive. Some really nice steals in the game as well, picking some pockets and moving the ball up court, which is what you really have to do when you get those fast breaks, is to get that ball handler, down the middle of the court and look for the wings. And the team just played really well defensively. And like you said, Draymond had a great game, but they challenged a lot of shots. I mean, the Blazers had Warriors' hands in their face quite a bit in this game. And that really helps, cause a little bit of some issues for that shooter. So great job.
Absolutely. I mean, they were all over the Blazers shooters, in their face, contesting shots. Nothing came easy for Portland tonight. And the Warriors defensively, I thought, really, really stepped up and made a huge difference as well. Let me update this. And guys, before we get any further, remember, this show is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code DreArea Sports when making your first purchase over at SeatGeek to save $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. So when the Warriors come to the Chase Center, when you use SeatGeek to buy some tickets, make sure you use promo code DreArea Sports to save $20. This show is also brought to you by BetUS. BetUS will match you up to 125% on your first $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. So use promo code DreArea Sports when making your bets over on BetUS. And of course, we're brought to you by PowerBrandSystems. Use 300POWER, promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 in your first purchase of PowerBrandSystems. Use the referral link in the description below when making that first purchase. If you're looking to build a website for your YouTube channel, your small business, then check out PowerBrandSystems. If you want an example of how good their websites work, then just go over to my website over at nicotina.net. That's the homepage for all 3 of my channels, including DreArea Sports. Memberships are available over on nicotina.net, and that's the best way to support the channel because I don't have to share that money with YouTube or Patreon or anybody else. It goes straight to the channel. So go over to nicotina.net, become a member of the DreArea Sports Show. Memberships are available, and you can join the community, which allows you to interact with me, with Daniel, with CG Ruthless, Brian Snowman, a whole bunch of other people that are already on there, and I'm constantly posting sports updates for Bay Area sports all day long. So definitely check out nicotina.net. So let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers, okay? The Warriors absolutely fucking dominated this game. I mean, it wasn't even close. But let's take a look. So Draymond Green, 8 points. Kuminga, 10. Trace Jackson Davis, 14. Steph Curry, 17. And Andrew Wiggins, 20 fucking points. I did not expect to get 20 points out of Andrew Wiggins. So that was huge. And defensively, too, I thought he was really, really good. Defensively. He looked like the Wiggins of old, or I should say the Wiggins from our championship year. That's kind of what he looked like to me, where he just seemed to be everywhere. Now, he did have some errant shots early on. In fact, early on, I found myself saying, God damn it, Wiggins, because he kept making some weird drives and missing open threes. But at the end of the day, I want to talk about their starting lineup. Now, their starting lineup consisted of these guys right here, and I was a little... I don't know. A part of me was kind of taken back because I thought Podziemski was going to get the start as your starting guard, but instead they went with Andrew Wiggins. And then as the game went on, I kind of started to realize, hey, look, this is a much bigger lineup. Mm-hmm. When you have Wiggins, Kuminga, Green, and Davis, that's a lineup that gives you a lot of length, a lot of height, and it helps in terms of defense and rebounds as well. I liked this lineup in the second half because I really saw, kind of what they had to bring to the as a lineup. What did you think about the starting five for this game?
Well, I think one of the things that really stand out is that they have become really athletic. When you add, Tracy Jackson Davis, Wiggins has always been super athletic, dude. Draymond Green, who's crazy out there, and Kuminga, who's a freak, and then you got Curry, who's always steady. He's always consistent. I think, that really stands out to me. And you have, you're mixing in some really good veterans with some young players out there starting. And I think Trace Jackson Davis had a really nice game. So, with Wiggins, I believe, he kind of earned that starting role. And it was a great call by Steve Kerr starting Wiggins tonight. Because he actually ended up playing really well. I think he shot 4 for 7 from 3-point land.
Yeah, I don't know why this doesn't show their shooting. It just shows everything else but that, which I'm like,
I don't know either. But yeah, I mean, that's my take on the starting five. They're just athletic, very aggressive, and the cohesion is there that you want to see. So obviously they started out pretty cold to start the game, missing so many shots. This game could have easily been like 155 to 104. So yeah. Well,
and plus, like, that's one thing that you get with Andrew Wiggins. It seems like whenever he goes out there, especially early on, he kind of has it takes him a while to get going. And I felt like early in this game, he wasn't really doing anything, and that was really annoying me. And that's why I wanted Podziemski out there for his ball handling, his ability to create. But it really paid off later on. And I thought that when it came to the bench, Podziemski had 0 points. He didn't shoot all that well, but he had 7 rebounds and 4 assists. And I want to say he got at least 2 or 3 charges as well.
Yeah, he took 2 offensive charges, so that was great.
Yeah, and he led the league in charges last year, so I thought that was awesome to see him, kind of keeping that up. But he healed. Holy fuck, this guy scored 22 points off the bench. I mean, if you're looking for a guy to replace what what's his name? What Klay Thompson brought to this lineup? I mean, so far in one game, I think he did amazing replacing Klay Thompson. I was like, holy shit, this is even better.
I mean, this guy shot 5 for 7 from 3-point land. I mean, that is like the vintage Klay. That would be vintage Klay right there. He looked great, especially off of screens. He had a quick trigger. And you can really see that this guy's a pure shooter. He's just a natural shooter. He has a great stroke, and he looked great out there, and I love how they ran plays for him, to get open.
Yes.
And that's huge when Kerr identifies this guy can fucking shoot the ball. Give him the rock.
Well, and plus, like, stroke wise, I felt that like it looked more natural coming out of him than it did all last year from Klay Thompson. It just felt like every time Klay shot that ball, he was thinking hard about what he was doing, how he was setting his feet, how he was going up. Buddy Hield was just so automatic, and I absolutely loved it. And his athleticism as well. Now, defensively, I don't think he's a huge defender, but I just love what he brought to the game athletically and his shooting ability.
Yeah.
Another guy I want to talk about is Moses Moody. I thought Moody played a really good game. And, they just signed him to that. I think it was a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
For $36 million or $39 million. I love that deal. I love the fact that they're keeping him around. I was always afraid we were going to lose this guy. But see, this is one of the things that, look, we're talking about game 1, so there's still a lot more basketball to play this season. But the one thing I saw from this game that I was hoping to see and hope to see more of it is that I felt like this lineup is deeper. Before, it's like, look, you had your starting 5. These guys were all here last year, but now you go deeper with DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody, Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, Gary Payton. These guys all played well today. Gary Payton had 8 points. He also had 2 steals. Kyle Anderson only had 2 points, but he also had 2 steals. He had a block. He had 3 assists and 5 rebounds. So he really filled up the stat board in multiple different categories. And I really like having Kyle Anderson on the team. A lot of people were like, "Oh, why are we getting this guy for? He's slow." Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I think he just brings that calmness to the court, and he's a basketball guy. And so
I would say one thing about Kyle Anderson is that he brought up the ball.
He would bring the ball up the court.
He'd bring up the ball, and I'm just like, all right, that's stretching the court a little bit when you got someone his height bringing up the ball. You're pulling a forward out of a natural area that he wants to be in, which is a little bit on the other side of the court. So it looked great. The additions really stood out today.
Yes, absolutely.
And the rotation of players was good. You didn't see the veterans, play, over 26 minutes, something like that. So just all around great game, great way to start the season. And I believe the Blazers are going to probably be one of the worst teams in the West. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But boy, with the ass.
Anthony Simmons isn't he's a good player. DeAndre Ayton, he is, but DeAndre Ayton is what he is. But it's funny because when you watch this game, and Scoot Henderson, he had 22 points, so he had a good game. But when you watch this game, the Trailblazers were in the game for the first half and into the third quarter. But the Warriors just never slowed down. The Warriors just never stopped, and they just kept on going, and they just blew past them. The Blazers literally could not keep up with what the Warriors were doing. Now, looking at starting 5, if you just look at starting 5 or starting 5, you'd say, okay, well, look, 16, 11, 10, 15, 15. They were able to keep up with them, but what kills them is the bench. In total, look at the bench. Melton, 10. Moses Moody, 15. Hield, 22.
Crazy.
Look, Scoot Henderson had 22 points, but the next leading scorer off the bench was Ryan Rupert with 6 points.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. They got no production out of the bench. And Brandon Bajemski didn't even score. He missed all of his shots, but he still had 7 rebounds and 4 assists.
Right.
Even Melton had 4 assists. I just loved what they did with the ball and how they played together. Chris writes, Kerr said post-game he's going with a 12-man rotation.
Well, he sure as hell showed that today.
Yeah, there were guys flying everywhere.
12 guys played in the first half. If you're on that team, you're like, hell yeah, let's play some ball.
But here's the thing, though, is that a lot of these guys, they were all hitting their shots. Not at the very beginning of the game, but as the game went on, they were all kind of hitting their shots. But I'd love to see the breakdown in the minutes. Right now, when you look at their bench, Scoot Henderson played 27 minutes, right? 16, 12, 9, 8, 7, 3. When you look at the Warriors, look at 24, 19 minutes, 14 minutes, 14 minutes, 14 minutes, 14 minutes, 14. This is crazy.
Yeah.
They were just rifling through guys. And the starting lineups, 20, 19, 24, 25, 23. Not a single player played over 26 minutes in this game.
Right.
You look at Portland, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simmons, they all played over 30 minutes. And then Kamara had 29 minutes, almost 30. So they were all putting in heavy minutes.
Those guys are probably gassed. Warriors,
Gassed.
fast break points, 31-5. So the Warriors were really pushing the ball a lot in this game, and you kind of saw that, and that was really cool to see because you saw a lot of down court passes, some great playmaking abilities, and getting to the line. And that's what you really need to do when you're trying to push for a postseason and hopefully a championship run, is that kind of ball movement. Put the pressure on the defense. I mean, good defense turns into offense immediately, and you can see these Warriors have the vision right now. They look good against this team. I mean, we'll see how they do against other squads, but boy, they look pretty good tonight.
Well, and this is another thing I wanted to point out. Like, okay, so when you look at their shot selection, right? The majority of them threes, right. And if not, right at the hoop. You know what I mean? It's like with very few jump shots. When you look at Portland, it was everywhere. They're just like, oh my God, help! They were just throwing it up. Here's some Warriors gear if you're interested. I know, right? But no, it was. There's the money line. But let me see.
I mean, the Warriors shot 41.7 from the 3-point range. They went 20 for 48 in threes. That's crazy.
Wow. That's
crazy. I mean, if your team is hitting at almost 42% from 3-point land, you're fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're fucked.
The Blazers did have 10 steals, but the Warrior, what is it? Is it 10 steals? Is that what they had? That doesn't sound right. Oh, I think there was 10 steals in the game. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They had 10 steals. The Warriors had 13. Offensive rebounds, we beat them 15-13. Total rebounds, 57-42. I mean, they were rebounding the ball like crazy. And that's what I love about this team is that you got guys like Podziemski, Gary Payton, Trace Jackson Davis, Looney. All these guys, they crashed the boards. And a lot of them are guards who are doing it.
Yeah.
And so it just shows a total team effort. And although Podziemski didn't score any points, you see the value in the kind of player that he is and why the Warriors were so stubborn in not wanting to include him in any of these trade packages that they were working on in the offseason. And in fact, by not getting all the big stars, not getting the Paul Georges and the Lauri Markkanens, they created a much deeper team that has better ball skills, passing ability, and can play defense. I mean, when you look at their lineup, let's go back to that real quick. When you look at the roster, you got Draymond Green, good defender. Kuminga, good defender. Jackson Davis is a really good defender down low. Wiggins can be a really, really good defender when he's motivated, which he was tonight. It was great to see. DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton. So you have a lot of guys
Moses
that bring.
Malone can play some D too. I mean,
who?
Moses Malone.
Moses Malone. At his age, I don't think he can. He's like, get me in there.
Moody's a good defender.
Moody's a great defender, and Podziemski plays really good defense as well. So defensively, this team is really, really strong. The one thing I worry about is that when they go against a team like the Lakers, who have like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, so like when you go against a team like Denver Nuggets, teams that have a lot of height, I think we're still going to struggle against those teams because outside of Trace Jackson Davis, you don't really have another big, tall center kind of bruiser that you can bring in the game.
Well, you got Looney, baby. Come on, man.
Looney's always going to be there, but he's not the biggest guy either.
No, he's not. But he has a pretty wide body, so he's had some big game for the Warriors in the past and some big rebounds. But yeah, it'd be great to have another big, like a good tall guy gets those rebounds off the bench.
Yeah.
The one area that you want to kind of see the Warriors, continue to progress on is their free throw shooting. They're at 76% for the game, 23 for 30. Against better teams and maybe even in the postseason, you want that at a much higher percentage.
Yes. And their next game coming up is against. Let me see. Let me pull up right now. It just shows all the way up till today, which is like that doesn't help me at all. They're playing Utah in a couple days. So that will be on Friday. They play Utah at Utah, so that should be a good game as well. But and they'll get to see Lauri Markkanen.
Oh boy, he's a good player, man. It would have been
He
nice if
is.
the Warriors, snagged him, but it's all good. The
It's
team
all
looks great
good.
right now.
So Chris writes, I believe DeAnthony Melton will be a steal for us. I think so. He was doing a lot of things. And a couple of times he did lose track of the shot clock. He ran into, from what I remember, he ran into a shot clock violation, and he almost ran into another one, but he threw it up, and at least it hit rim. But he's got to be a little more cautious of that. But overall, though, I felt like he was really good in terms of moving the ball, his passing ability, his ability to take threes, and of course, his defense is good as well. I think he's an overall really great contributor to this team, especially at the backup guard position. When you put him, Peyton, Draymond, Wiggins, or Moody, like that's just like an all defensive team, and so they just really strangled the Portland Trailblazers today, especially in the third quarter. It's like the Warriors stepped on the gas and never let go, and Portland was defenseless to stop them.
Yeah,
and then they started fouling. And that's the other thing, too, I wanted to bring up, too, was that in the first quarter, when Portland got off to that hot start and everyone was like, oh, God, what's going on here? The Warriors did what veterans should do, and they started getting to the line. They started shooting free throws. In the past, that's been one thing that they've been very bad at, is getting to the line and getting free throws. A lot of times they go out there and they'll go against teams who are shooting free throws left and right, and they'll shoot like, over the first half, they only shot 2 free throws. Like, what? But this team was getting to the line because they were attacking the rim. And, earlier Chris was saying that Kuminga had a bad game, but I loved his finishing ability at the rim. He would attack the rim, and he's only going to get better as the games go on. I mean, he only had 10 points today, but he didn't have to do much because the team was contributing. Everyone was contributing today on their opening night.
Yeah, and with Kuminga, he didn't have a great scoring game. I mean, 10 points in the NBA is still 10 points against some of the best players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, he did generate offensive movement. He attacked the rim, and that's what you want to see out of a player like Kuminga, someone that wants to be aggressive with the ball in the hand. But how about that second unit that came out and really brought the Warriors back in the game? I think that was in the second quarter. That second unit, obviously, led by Buddy Hield and his 3-point shooting. But, in order for him to get those 3 points, you got to have players that create the space for him to do that, and run these plays correctly. So that second unit was really impressive. And that's what you really need on a good team is you need a good starting five, and you need to have solid bench players that come out there and can play as starters.
Yeah.
That was great. That was awesome.
No, I agree. The bench really came in, and that's what I'm talking about, is that the depth that this bench brings that they didn't bring last year. Now, last year, they tried to create like 2 separate units. You got your starting 5, and then you got your second unit, which was led by Chris Paul. And I get what they were going for, but this year it feels like they have their second unit, especially instead of Chris Paul, now you have Brandon Pajemski leading that second unit, right? But they're so interchangeable throughout the game that you're not left with, okay, starting 5, second unit, starting 5, second unit. After a while, it was like starting 5, or here comes the second unit, or here comes some more of the starting 5, and then they were just throwing dudes at you left and right, and they were all contributing. I mean, I absolutely loved what I saw out of Buddy Hield, just nailing shots left and right, and just unconsciously just throwing it up. It was just like, oh yeah. And that's what we didn't get from Klay Thompson last year. And look, I love Klay Thompson, but and he may find his stroke in Dallas, but what Buddy Hield brought to the court tonight, and I hope he does this consistently this year, that's what we wanted to see from Klay Thompson last year, especially against the Kings in the play-in round, which he scored 0 points.
Oh. Well, I do wish Klay the best out in Dallas.
Absolutely.
I hope he tears it up this season. I really do, man. Because he's a he's an all-time Warrior. I'm sure when he retires, he'll come back for that one-day contract, retire as a Warrior or something like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He has to.
Yeah, he's a legend, and again, I just wish that I could do all the best, man. Much love for Klay Thompson, man. Let's go. Points in the paint. Warriors had 56 to the Blazers 48 points in the paint. So
that's big.
You're outscoring them in the paint. You're outscoring them from 3-point land. Look at the score.
Yeah.
So and you're playing good defense, and that's what you really need is to play good team defense.
Well, and it was the confidence too, the confidence that they were exuding on the court. They looked in command. They looked confident in what they were doing. They knew exactly where they had to be. They knew exactly what they were doing. They looked like professionals out there. While Portland looks like a team that was like, we got this. We got this. Oh, shit. Maybe not. And they just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
A young team, right? But the Warriors just looked poised the entire game. Now, obviously, they're going against a more inferior team, such as, the Portland Trail Blazers. Although Chris Hubner in the chat, he was like, I think they're going to lose tomorrow night. I was like, oh, God, come on. They're not going to lose.
Yes, come on.
He's very doom and gloom sometimes. And, they took care of business tonight, and they won by a final score of 139-104. Okay, so looking at the game and all the stats, let me ask you, if you got to give out game balls, or I should say player of the game for the Warriors, who are you picking for player of the game?
It's a tough one. A lot of big contributors tonight. I'm going to go with Wiggins. Just, the way he played today, it was just like an eye opener, and you can see why he was starting. He really helped that team consistently throughout the game. From 3-point land, from the field, contributing with assists. He had 4 rebounds. The guy really played an all-around terrific game. My ball goes to Wiggins tonight.
Wiggins. My ball goes to Buddy Hield. I love the energy he brought off the bench. He brought in like energy, confidence, just swagger. He was barreling shots, and I just love what I saw from him the entire game. So my player of the game goes to Buddy Hield, because I think that there's a lot riding on him in terms of like, can he replace Klay Thompson being that second shooter on the floor? And I felt like once he came into the game, it spread things out. And then everyone had to worry about multiple shooters on the floor, especially when it was him and Steph Curry shooting the ball. It just opened up space for everybody else. And I thought he did a really good job, not only shooting, but just bringing that energy to the lineup. So Buddy Hield, man, I'm really excited to see what he's going to do this year for the Warriors. It almost feels like, Buddy Hield should have been here a long time ago. Because when the Kings got him, they're like, what's his name? Vivek was like, I think he could be the next Steph Curry, which that was like the kiss of death. Like, why would you fucking say that? Like, come on, dude, calm down.
In the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a good player, but when you say that, you're like, okay, that's like Jerry Stackhouse, now he assistant coach of the Warriors. Yeah. When he came to the league, he's the next Michael Jordan. Like, oh God,
yeah, it didn't happen.
That didn't happen. He was still a good player, but he's not no Michael Jordan. Why? Because he came out of fucking North Carolina. I was like, come on, man. But
the thing with Buddy is that he needs to stay healthy, man. That guy has missed a lot of games.
Yes.
In seasons. Let's see. Last year he only played 52 games. I mean, you need this guy to be healthy, and he's been injury prone sporadically throughout his career. So hopefully, if the Warriors keep the rotation going, limit his minutes to being productive, stays healthy, man. My buddy
and me. Guys, if you're watching, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on X, this is the premiere broadcast on my X account, so we'll be doing more broadcasts. Every broadcast will be on this X account. Make sure you follow this account on X. And because we'll be going live multiple times a week, covering both Niners, Warriors, and the Giants as they come closer to their regular season. I'm not going to cover the World Series. Fuck those Dodgers. Hope they lose.
Hell yeah.
Fuck those Dodgers. Dude, I hope they lose so fucking bad. I want to see Ohtani in the fucking dugout, just looking up at the Yankees celebrating like, I
Well,
wanted to win.
it's two evil empires against each other.
I don't care. At this point, I'm like, let's go Yankees.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Aaron Judge.
I am not, just because the Giants are a National League doesn't mean I'm going to stick with the National League when it comes to the World Series. No,
absolutely.
I'm staying true to the Giants.
Exactly.
San Francisco Giants.
San Francisco Giants. And on top of that, look, the way I see it at this point in my life, hey, look, Aaron Judge could have been a Giant, and same with Giancarlo Stanton. So I see them as Giants going against the Dodgers. Let's go. And Juan Soto. And they might be able to get him this year, too. I was posting information about that. He's going to command a fat-ass contract. They were like 14 years. I'm like, I don't know about that. Come on, man.
Yeah, Buster will work it out, dude. I have full confidence in Posey, man. Full confidence in the guy.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that, he's a much better representation of the team, having Buster Posey, as opposed to, like, Farhan. He's like, I've never played baseball in my life, but yeah.
Hey, do you hit the ball? Because I want to catch it. It's like, oh, come on. Buddy.
Yeah. Oh, I like the way you swing the bat. Have you ever swung a bat? No.
He's probably such a weirdo.
Yeah, he's just a nerd.
Who wants to sign with that guy?
Yeah, they're like, so you're the face of the franchise, huh? Yeah. Can you believe that?
Yeah, but I'm sure players don't sign because of him. They sign because they play for that team. And
that's like there was that joke that he tried to drop at the press conference for Blake Snell last year. He's like, I hear that the president will give you a pardon if you sign more than one contract with with Scott Boras. It was like fucking crickets. It was like, what? It was like, shut the fuck. Even Scott Boras was like,
okay.
Like, okay, dude, just shut up. Just talk about my player. I don't care what you guys say.
This is gonna be a 1 year deal, Billy.
It's gonna be a 1 year. Yeah,
it's just gonna be a 1 year.
He's gone.
Yeah, 1 year.
But I think Posey could convince him to stay. I don't think he will stay, because you're gonna have teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, all these teams going after him. Especially if the Dodgers lose, they're gonna be like, all hands on deck. Let's get some more people in here. We got Ohtani on $1 million a year for the next 20 years. And that was the other thing too. He signed for a contract where they only got to pay him like $1 million a year. I was like, you motherfucker. You gave him the ultimate team-friendly contract, something the Giants badly needed, and you went to the fucking Dodgers with that? The team with the biggest fucking payroll in baseball? You're like, hey, by the way, I'm going to cut you a massive deal as well. Hey! It was like... They got like Mookie Betts just running around for no reason. It's unbelievable. Okay, so getting back to the Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors, man. Yeah.
Gui Santos. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they looked fucking good. They, like I said, they looked confident. It looked like, and this is the thing with the starting five, and this is another aspect of the starting five that I sort of kind of dawned on me as the game went on. With Draymond Green, Kuminga, Jackson Davis, Curry, and Wiggins, these are guys, other than Jackson Davis, who was here last year, they've played with each other for the past like 4 years. And so there's a lot of familiarity with each other. And so as the game went on, you saw how these guys are really comfortable playing with one another. They know where each other is supposed to be. They know where the outlet pass is supposed to be at. And it showed in their ability to move the ball. I mean, if you look at the assists, Steph Curry, he had 17 points. He had 10 assists.
Mm-hmm.
He almost had a triple-double. He had 9 rebounds.
Yeah, he was flirting with it.
In the fourth quarter, you barely even saw him. I don't even think he played in the fourth quarter. He might have played in the beginning.
I mean, I'm glad. I mean, screw it. He only played, 24 minutes, something like that?
25 minutes.
25 minutes, yeah. That's fine.
If we can get back to the days where Steph Curry's only playing 3 quarters, that's huge. Remember those days where he'd only play 3 quarters of the game and then he'd sit out the whole fourth quarter because we blow everybody out? It was crazy.
Yeah. That's what we need to see.
It is, but now you have a team that's played with each other for at least 4 or 5 years, and they are very familiar with one another. They're comfortable. They looked relaxed out there, and dude, the way they were playing, the way that they were pushing the ball Fast break style. It looked like the old Warriors where they're just running with the ball constantly. And that's something that we didn't see very much last year because Chris Paul, he's not really that kind of guy. He's a half court offense kind of guy. And so it really felt like they really slowed things down last year.
Yeah, fuck Chris Paul.
Fuck Chris Paul.
I didn't
Now
like
he's
him
off
at
the,
all.
yeah,
couldn't
now that
stand
he's
him on
off
the
the
Warriors.
team, fuck him. He's a bitch.
Well, yeah, fuck that guy.
Fuck
Yeah,
that
he was
guy.
slowed down. He wasn't able to, run as fast. He's always fucking injured last season. But kind of getting back to the veterans that you're talking about, or like guys who have been playing with the squad. I mean, if you think about, Kuminga and Mosey both came to the team the same season, and I think that was 4 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you got Pajensky and Davis Price. I always get those mixed up.
Trace Jackson Davis.
Jackson Davis. Jeez, see? Jackson Davis. I mean, they're in their third season together,
Yeah.
And they have playoff experience, you're starting to see a team really kind of come into form. I'm hoping, knock on wood, this season that they're able to stay healthy and really push this West Coast teams and push them hard.
Yeah.
We want to see consistent basketball out of the Warriors, right? Last year they were really inconsistent. They would give up huge leads. You would see a shit ton of turnovers in the game. I mean, turnovers, that's all they talked about, that's all they were talking about. Turnovers. It was bad last year. And you can see a difference this season. So.
And it's only been one game, but still, I mean, turnover-wise, Portland had 17 turnovers. The Warriors had 17 turnovers. Warriors had 5 block shots. Portland had 4. So, I mean, overall, they just shot the lights out of them. That's really what it was. 3-pointers are 20 of 48. Portland was 8 of 34. Ouch. Not good. Free throw-wise, they were pretty even, 23-30 to 24-30. But the 3-pointers is what is at the end of the day just demolish them. And they have guys that can shoot. And so I love it. Oh, no. What's he doing? He says Fisher Price, Reggie Jackson, Baron Davis. That's the guy's name. There it is.
That's it. You forgot Captain Fisher Price.
Captain. Seriously. Okay, so one last thing that I want to touch on as we start to or begin to wrap things up. I just want to say they were not able to come to an agreement on an extension with Jonathan Kuminga. And so going into this offseason, he will be a restricted free agent. So it's not like he can just take off wherever he wants to go. They have the ability to match any contract. So I think at that point, he wanted more money than they were willing to offer. And so they said, look, let's see how you do this year. And then we'll go from there. But a part of me thinks that hey, wait a minute. What if what they're thinking is if we suck this year, if this team falls apart and has problems, do they trade Kuminga at the trade deadline to try and get a package of players or picks back to try and rebuild?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's knock on wood. Let's just say Steph Curry tears his ACL or gets hurt.
Jesus, don't say those things.
I'm just saying. If the Warriors take on massive injuries, if the Warriors take on massive injuries. Do you think that the Warriors would be willing to sell and trade Kuminga at the trade deadline this year if they're out of it?
That's definitely a possibility. There's always been talk almost every offseason about the Warriors trading Kuminga, the Warriors trading Moody. Moody has a team-friendly deal right now. So I think if anyone's going to get traded, they're probably looking at, a package with Moody involved in it because it's so attractive and he's a really good player. But trading Kuminga, boy, you really have to be shit in the bed at that point to just, bail on everything and go for it, and just focus to next year, Yes, there's definitely a possibility that Kuminga could go for sure because he will be a restricted free agent.
Yeah. But I think that, based on how he plays this year, maybe this is the case where they're like, hey, look, we're not going to give you the price that you're asking, but if you show us this year that you're out, you're above and beyond, that you're that elite player, then you're going to get the contract regardless because someone's going to offer that to you and we're going to match it.
Right.
So for me, this is like this is kind of a prove it year for Jonathan Kuminga. This is like, hey, show us what you're made of. You're going to be a starter.
Yeah, he's a starter.
You don't have old ass Klay Thompson in your way. I love Klay Thompson, but man, towards the end there, he looked really slow.
All that, yeah, he was kicking tires around there at the end.
Oh, dude, like he couldn't run anymore. It was,
But with Kuminga, the expectations have to be realistic. I don't expect Kuminga. Most Warrior fans shouldn't expect Kuminga to go out there and score 30 points a night.
No,
he's not demonstrated that. Okay, but what he has demonstrated is that he has learned to play basketball at the NBA level. He came in really raw, and now he's a very productive player. His defense will need to improve this season, as well as his outside shooting. We all know he can drive and finish at the hoop. We all know he can dunk. He can shoot some real nice shots from three-point land, but we want to see he probably wants to show a more consistent Jonathan Kuminga this season, because that's what's going to get him paid.
When I think that Moody becomes what we had in Kuminga last year, where he's the guy off the bench that brings you more offense, more defense, more rebounds. He's got to fill in that role of Kuminga as Kuminga was coming off the bench early on last season. And when you look at the contract he signed a 3-year, $39 million rookie scale contract extension. And that's huge for the Warriors. They got him for 3 more years. This is a guy that like he could have got a contract anywhere, especially if he became a free agent. He'd have been gone. Somebody would have scooped him up.
No, for sure.
And
no, definitely. I mean, he's an excellent ball player. His contract is just perfect for the team and for him. Obviously, he's still getting paid a hefty amount, per season. So. With Moody, he's definitely he's right there with the second team. The one thing interesting tonight is I don't think Moody was on the first team coming off the bench.
No, I don't think he was either.
He sat and he had to wait for his playing time. So that was a little interesting to see.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he brings so much to the team. I love having this guy on the team, and this guy has massive shoulders as well. Steve-O writes 20 texts. Okay, Steve-O, thank you. I love how you changed it from the dog to just Biohazard as your logo. Very nice. But like I said, I love having Moody, and I'm glad he's going to be here for the next 2 or 3 or next 3 years. That's going to be awesome to have this guy, just as a part of the fold of the Golden State Warriors. Their next game comes on Friday against the Utah Jazz in Utah. Oh, Steve-O goes, I'm grumpy. You're always grumpy, Steve-O, but we're happy to see you here. Make sure you smash that like button too, buddy. And guys, head over to nicotina.net. That's the homepage for all 3 of my channels. And if you click on Become a Member, you can choose to become a member of all 3 of my channels separately. One of them, of course, is this channel right here, which is the DreArea Sports channel. Memberships are available, and it's the best way to help support the channel. This stream is also brought to you by SeatGeek. When making your first purchase over at SeatGeek, use promo code DreArea Sports to save $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. So if you're going to go to the Warriors game when they come home, definitely use DreArea Sports promo code when buying tickets over at SeatGeek to save yourself $20. That's a beer right there. That's a beer. Maybe even food. So we'll put money back in your pocket to go to the game. Nachos. Chicken fingers.
Cheese nachos only.
Cheese nachos.
That's all you can get for $20.
And we're also brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code DreArea Sports when making your first bet with BetUS. They will match you up to 125% on your first $2,000 on your first 3 deposits over at BetUS. It's where the game begins.
Get your bets, yep.
And go to BetUS and check that out. Use promo code DreArea Sports. And if you're looking to build a website for your YouTube channel, small business, whatever it is, check out PowerBrandSystems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 in your first purchase over at PowerBrandSystems. use the referral link in the description below. You want an example of the work they can do, then check out my website, nicotina.net. Become a member of this channel, DreArea Sports, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap things up. Do you think, I mean, it's only been one game, but based on what you saw, do you think this team will be a contender, at least for playoff contention this year?
That's really hard to say at this point in the season, Andre. I mean, we got our
it's only
first
one game.
It's only one game. I think I want to wait, a little bit to see kind of how the Warriors play out. Give me a good week on that to see. But, if we're just calling this based on game one, absolutely. Yes.
I mean, I watched that game last night with the Lakers and Wolves, and I'm sorry, but Minnesota, unless you're Karl-Anthony Towns, unless you're Anthony Edwards, there was no offense anywhere. Rudy Gobert doesn't score. They were missing Karl-Anthony Towns really bad because they needed that other scorer, and I don't know where they're going to get that from. So they looked fairly anemic, especially when Anthony Edwards was not in the game. Dude, I love Anthony Edwards, dude. That guy's so fucking good. Can you imagine if they would have got him instead of fucking what's his name? The center we drafted?
I
want to call him Jameis Winston, but it's not it.
Chris, what's his name?
Yeah, Chris, what's his name? The center that we drafted.
Oh, Wiseman.
There you go.
Jesus.
Woo, he sucked.
Yeah, that was a bust.
But can you imagine if, like, let's say, the T-Wolves took Wiseman?
I wonder if when they drafted Wiseman, was John Lynch in the room? Yeah, go ahead and get that guy. He's pretty good. He sucks. You're like, another first-round flop.
First-round bust.
Damn it.
Well, we don't know about Ricky Pearsall. He's only played one game. Didn't have a lot of separation, but it's his first game back from being shot in the chest. Yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah, kind of some slack, Jack, But
not so Wiseman.
Yeah.
But Wiseman, yeah. Like, can you imagine if we would have got Anthony Edwards instead of Wiseman? Holy fuck. This team would have been out of control. If you would have had Anthony Edwards, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, it would have been nuts. They would have said goodbye to Klay Thompson a while ago.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I thank you, Klay, for all your service.
When he came back from injury, they'd have been like, you're going to be on the bench. We have Anthony Edwards. We don't need you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Klay was so awesome when he was young, too, with the Warriors. The last explosive guard that I can remember the Warriors having was Jay Richardson. That guy was incredible. Jason Richardson. Oh, man. You talk about a scoring dude. That guy was legit.
He was good.
That went away. He had his good years. The Jazz lost tonight to the Grizzlies, 126 to 124. Their starters played a shit ton of minutes.
Oh, which one? Utah?
Yeah, Utah. Markin, whatever the hell his name is.
Markin.
Played 35 minutes, had 35 points, but their starters averaged at least 30 minutes a game, 28 minutes a game, their starters. So they ran a lot in that game. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of gas they have coming out of the first game of the season like this.
Look at those numbers. God damn. Lauri Markkanen, 34 minutes.
Yep. Rounded up to 35.
Colin Sexton. Keontae George. I mean, this line doesn't really scare me, but I mean, it's still good. I mean, look, you can see the numbers they put up. Markkanen scored 35 fucking points.
Yeah, and that team has in Colin Sexton, he was a draft pick by the Cavs a few years ago, and I think he was a high draft pick as well. He didn't stay with that team very long.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
look at the hair. He was the 8th pick by the Cavaliers. Yeah, first round.
Yeah, first rounder. And that other kid they got on that squad, scroll up a little bit. Keaton George, he's another young player that might have a decent year. I think he's coming into his second season. I could be wrong, but he's another player to watch. So,
Well, and one thing about Lauri Markkanen is that he's never been a big guy in terms of like blocks. He had 0 blocks. He had 9 rebounds, but he scored 35 fucking points.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
And they still got Jordan Clarkson.
Too. Yeah, off the bench, he's their 6th man. He scored 17.
Yeah. No, he's a good player. He's a really
John
good
Collins. Let's talk about Tom Collins.
Mills is still playing.
Patty Mills is there. He had 0 points with 16 minutes, so he ran around, got a rebound and an assist.
I can't stand that guy. I couldn't stand him with the Spurs.
Oh God, he would always kill us too. Just bombing threes, like oh.
You're like, oh, you're gonna have a career night against us. Great.
Oh, always.
Fuck Patty Mills.
Look, Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't play. He's probably hurt.
He is hurt. He is.
John Morant, who's finally not hurt. He only had 22 points. That's it. This guy, Aldama,
22 points is pretty good.
That's pretty good. And 10 assists.
10 assists, 5 rebounds. I mean, that dude was balling out there.
And they lost.
Yeah, and
they won.
Yeah,
in Utah.
Bain should have a pretty good season as well. He's pretty highly ranked in fantasy land. So he's poised for a pretty good season. And he's kind of a jerk too. I can't stand when he plays against the Warriors. He always has like his chin up, like, oh boy. No, get out of my face. That's how he plays.
That's how he plays, man.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out come this Friday as the Warriors take on the Utah Jazz. It's probably an early game as well, probably at 4:00. Let me see if I can find it. It's actually at 6:30 p.m. Interesting. So it'll be at 6:30 on Friday as they take on the Utah Jazz. So go Warriors.
Go Warriors, man. Let's go. Let's do it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank Daniel for coming out here and talking Warriors basketball. This is going to be a good season. I'm really hyped up for what the Warriors are doing so far in game 1. Let's see how it kind of plays out. I know last year they looked good in the first 4 or 5 games. I was like, hey, this team's not that bad. And then they just shit the bed and everybody got hurt. I mean, we see what happens with injuries. Look at the Niners. A ton of injuries.
Niners are going to turn around, man.
They
have faced a 3-4 record before in recent years, so they have a shot here
with Kyle Shanahan as their head coach.
Yep, 2022. I think.
I still believe in Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. I know a lot of people were like, "Fire Shanahan." I'm not going to fire him. Chris would tell you, "Fire Shanahan," but no. And right now, everyone's big talk is, "Oh well, you can hire Ben Johnson from the Lions." The guarantee. You have to guarantee you're going to hire that guy. Imagine you fire Kyle Shanahan and Ben Johnson's like, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay with the Lions.
I'll tell you what, though. If the York family does not like Kyle and the Niners don't succeed this season, you might see some surprises.
You might. You never fucking know.
You might see some surprises.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank everyone who came out today, everyone in the chat, everyone watching over on X. Make sure you follow me on X and subscribe to the channel. The DreArea Sports Channel. We'll be live again later this week, probably for another post-game live after the Cowboys game. Niners are going to whoop ass on Cowboys. I might do another show on Friday night. Just depends on how it goes. But check out Warriors. They'll be live against the Utah Jazz this Friday at, what do you call
6:30.
6:30. Sham a scam. That's what he calls Mike Shanahan. Or Kyle Shanahan, sorry. It's so stupid. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Peace!